I was going to say, we'll start out with you, Nev. Good to see you. Tell everybody a little bit about this project. It just looked like so much fun.
It was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was intense, obviously. It's a beautiful story about a very, very inspiring family going through a very challenging time. And it's just always nice to be a part of a story that's actually about something. And I feel like this is an important story to tell, so that feels good.
Right. And how about with you, Finn? What was it like for you just to be a part of it as well?
Yeah, so stepping into the role of Zach Sobiak, he was a 17-year-old kid faced with a terminal diagnosis of osteosarcoma, and he used his last year to write music to say goodbye to his family and friends. What a legacy, what big shoes to step into. It was intimidating, but the more I got to know the family and Zach's story on a personal level, the more reassured I was that we were on the right track. And every step of this process has felt meant to be in a way. And it's a very loving experience. This set was probably the most loving and sensitive and thoughtful set I've ever worked on. And that's pretty unusual. So I think everyone who's been a part of this project has realized there's a sense of responsibility to do the story justice and make sure Zach's legacy is upheld in the best way possible.
Right. And just going along with that, Nev, I mean, just with what he said, it's got to be something different when you're doing something about a person who actually, was here as, somewhat compared to, a person who's made up. How important was that? Like you said, just to make sure that you got everything right and feeling good.
Mm-hmm. Well, we certainly wanted to honor Zach in the best way possible in the family. And, playing someone who actually exists and is living is a big responsibility. She's an incredible woman, one of the most profound people I've ever met and most courageous people I've ever met. And I learned a great deal from her. And the creative process with her was amazing because she was so generous with sharing her feelings, her journey, her lessons. And that really helped me to embody all that I think was necessary to represent for Laura. And she wrote me 2 nights ago and said that she and Rob got the film. They watched it five times in a row.
Wow!
And that they're really, really happy. So that for us is just such a relief, because they're obviously the most important audience.
Right.
So yeah, that feels really good.
I can imagine. Like you said, it is one that you will find yourself wanting to watch again. Like you said, it is a lot of emotion. So that's something good. And also, something for people to talk about. So I'm quite sure, Finn, after a lot of folks got done watching it, we all got in touch with each other to say, hey, what did you think? How did you feel?
We actually, as a cast, watched it for the first time together and virtually, of course. So
right.
We were sent the link by our director, Justin Baldoni. We sat down and watched the first picture lock of the film.
Oh, okay.
And for me, I was just in shock, and I was crying tears of joy and confusion, seeing myself as Zach. And it was really nice to share that moment together. We all hopped on a Zoom call afterwards and just talked it out and reminisced. And every single time I've watched it since, there have been waterworks, unfailingly. And it strikes me in a really deep personal way every single time I see it because it's Zach's story. Zach was an incredible young man, and seeing his strength represented on screen like that is inspiring to me as a person and a performer.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll feel good, you'll feel sad, but it's kind of like this time in life, you kind of need all of that, when we're home and doing different things along that line. Nev and Finn, thank you so very, very much for your time. Great performances, and take care. Look forward to talking to you both again very soon. All I get from you guys is love, a great feeling, and just a very inspirational story. Let's say, Laura, I'll start with you. Your mom, you wrote the book. Tell me a little bit about that journey for you.
Yeah, I was given, so just about, I think 4 weeks after Zach died, I was given the opportunity to write our story. And it was something that I just did not think I would ever do, because a book sounded like a really big deal. Like, how do you do that? I'd never written anything other than our Caring Bridge site, which is a blog about our medical journey. And it was a real cathartic thing for me to dive into. I was able to capture a lot of those fresh memories that I really wanted to make sure I got down. I was able to just really, I wanted to tell our story in a vulnerable and authentic way, because I wanted people to understand the struggle of what it means to be a family dealing with childhood cancer. But also have them see the struggle and the hope that went along with it, and how we found joy in that journey still.
Right. And then for you, Justin, getting involved into making this into a movie, I mean, it again is like a very deep and heavy project to take on, but you told the story beautifully as well.
Thank you. It's been a passion project for 7 years now, and this all started long before it was ever a movie. It was a short documentary as a part of a series I was doing with my friends at Soul Pancake about amazing young people who were living with a chronic or terminal illness, but choosing hope and choosing life. And after I met Zach and the family and told their story, I made a promise to Zach that I'd keep going and do whatever I could to keep making sure that the world knew his name and his story, and that we'd raise money for osteosarcoma. And, and after she wrote the book, I reached out to Laura and I said, hey, what do you think? I'd like to make this a movie. And 5.5 years later, here we are.
Fantastic. And then Laura, for you, what was it like when you watched the movie? I mean, this is your family. They're up there, on the big screen, and it's all about you guys. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing to watch your life played out in that way. It was probably the best term I can use is disorienting in some ways. Like you're watching this film through so many different lenses. Honestly, it took me probably 4 times of watching the film to even know if it made sense, because I was so focused on just the details of it. Justin did such a beautiful job of capturing the essence of our story, and so focusing on all the little vignettes of what happened in our life, and seeing how that plays out and how he wove that into just this beautiful story. It was, there's part of it that's gut-wrenching and just makes me miss Zach even more, but there's so much beauty in the story, and it's such an uplifting story. Both my husband and I, we cried a lot and we laughed a lot. And so based on that, I know it's a good film.
Absolutely. I was going to say, yeah, Justin, you had everybody doing that, laughing, crying. I mean, that's kind of like what you want. You know what I mean? As far as putting the heart and soul into this film. I just want to thank you both very much for your time. And Laura, thank you so much for your story. And Justin, thank you so much for the film. You guys take care.
Thank you. You too.